You know, I've always been fascinated with the jobs that actors have before they're actors or when they're still, working their way up. Now, working at Neiman Marcus, what kind of glamorous position did you have with that establishment?
How'd you know about that?
I did my homework.
I was I worked on the loading dock, unloading boxes as they came in off the trucks, and then they moved me into shipping, and I unpacked the boxes and hung up the dresses and hung up the clothes on racks and checked things in. So I was from the loading dock to a shipping clerk.
You know, they say that adversary always builds character, and I think a lot of people thought you probably just came out of nowhere and became a star. But when you went from Steppenwolf to LA for the first time, things didn't quite work out that first time. How frustrating was it for you the first time you went to LA and tried to get into movies?
Totally frustrating. I came from Chicago where I had my own theater company, and it was not what it is now. I mean, it was struggling, and nobody knew who we were, and we weren't making any money at it at all. And my parents had moved to California, to Los Angeles, so I thought, well, I'll take a break from the theater. I'll go out and stay with them and try to get movie jobs or whatever. And I was there for about 10 months, and I think I got one job on Knots Landing for about, it was like a 2-line part on Knots Landing in the whole 10 months I was there. It was very frustrating. It's hard. I was a young 25-year-old or something. I thought I'd go out there, and that was a good time.
I was curious, in any of those auditions and the agents you met, did you ever get like really bad advice from agents who suggested things like, oh, you should change your name to like Gary Sinise III or do just really
Gary
bad?
Cooper.
Yeah.
I remember one that made me very angry. She said, I was auditioning for something, and then at the end of it she said, where did you study? And I said, well, I didn't. I started my own theater in Chicago, and this was when I was 24. And you didn't study? No. I think you should. Thank you. That was Hollywood.
Was it easy to
So I went back to Chicago shortly after that, fed up.
Was it easy to get discouraged in those days?
Yeah, sure. I was just rejected, constantly rejected. So, yeah, it was disappointing. But on the other hand, I was only here for 10 months, and then I went back to Chicago and took over as artistic director of my theater and started working continuously with the theater, and it ended up growing into, very well-respected theater, and, I ended up kind of coming to movies in another way. So.
Things have worked out well there.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, was there ever a moment, that first moment when you felt that you had arrived, the first time like a studio extended to you the VIP treatment? Do you remember that first time?
Well, of Mice and Men was probably
John Malkovich.
one. But I remember having a couple of development deals with some Hollywood studios before I actually even moved out here, and they would fly me out first class, put me at the Beverly Hills Hotel. There'd be a gift basket there and a thing. They'd send a car, and this was before I even moved out here. So I thought, wow, I'm being treated so special. I better not have anything from the minibar, though. And it was, a whole different thing. And then I worked on Of Mice and Men and Forrest Gump, and things started changing right around in there.
Okay. Funny, at the screening yesterday, when you make your first appearance in your naval uniform, there was a girl behind me who goes, oh, he looks pretty darn good. Now, how did people react to you the first time you walked out in your officer's uniform?
In the stands? At first, as I recall, nobody knew who I was, and then when I went over and stood next to Nick and started talking to him, then they realized that was me. There's a lot of people from around. They think. I guess they think I'm Lieutenant Dan with long hair and a beard or something. I don't know. But once I was standing next to Nick Cage, they figured that must be him.